Hi and welcome to another of the screencasts. And in today's session, obviously we're covering psychology and we're going to be looking at the attribution theory. In our last session we were looking at achievement motivation, so there are links between the two and we'll investigate those as we go along. So attribution theory looks at the reasons given by coaches and players to account for success or failure within sport. And there are strong links between attribution and the achievement motivation. So in essence, what would Miss Williams turn around and say was the reason for her winning the cup? What would be the reason that Jess Ennis would put down to her success at the 2012-2016 Olympics? Okay, so that's what we're going to investigate, and I think you'll find it quite interesting. So here are two examples of different attributional styles. So what are they saying are the reasons for the success or failure? So click on the links and have a look, make some notes, and then we'll carry on. Okay, so welcome back. What you should have done then is note what the attributions were. So what did they attribute the outcome of the games to? And one of them, interestingly, turned around and said that it was due to the linesman, the referee, bad day, that kind of thing. And the other guy, he turned around and said, well, yeah, I've been training very hard. It's been a really good part of the season. And he attributes his success or failure to different things. Now, what I'd like you to do then is do the same for yourself. Note a game or event you have attributed, rightly or wrongly, the failure of an outcome. So that could be your own personal performance or the performance of a team that you were in. But it didn't quite work on that day. What did you say at the time was the reason for that actually taking place? Okay, just have a think and then maybe make some notes on that. Do exactly the same then for an event or a game that you were successful in. That may be a cup final, it may be a personal best, it may be anything that you can think of in relation to sport. What did you attribute the success to at the time? Not what you think about it now, but at the time, can you remember what your thoughts and feelings were? Was it because of your effort? Or was it because of a bad decision? Okay, so once you've got those, we're now going to try and link that to Whingers' attribution model. So he suggested there were two folds to this. There's the locus of causality, so make sure you note that down, and then also this concept of stability. And we're going to unpick these very, very quickly. Probably a good idea to draw the model, and then we can, as we work through it. So attribution theory, so the locus of causality, which is that component here, he implied that there were two components, internal and external. So it indicated so locus of causality indicates whether the attribution relates to factors that are either external or internal to the performer. Effort or ability represent the internal factors, whilst task difficulty and luck are the external factors. So look, let's have a look at this here. So internal factors is obviously your ability, how good you are at achieving that actual task. So you remember your abilities are relatively stable. It's your skills that you develop. So your inherited ability is internal, and the amount of effort that you put in as well is also an internal factor for obvious reasons. It's your effort, you're doing it. But the task difficulty is external. That's obviously something that you can't really, well, it's an external factor in the sense that it's obviously out of your body. There's nothing you can really do about that task difficulty. So that could be either taking a penalty, it could be dribbling around somebody, it could be running around a bend, it could be hurdles, it could be absolutely anything, but all of those are obviously external factors. And then this phenomena that is luck. Again, it's an external factor. And that could be the bat to the ball, the rubber, the green, whatever you like, but obviously it's an external factor. So that's locus of causality. What caused the attribution? Now, the other thing that's implied on the model is stability. So this is whether it refers to the degree of permanence associated with a certain attribution factor. So a stable factor is considered to be permanent or unchangeable, and that, for example, would be your ability. That's relatively permanent. An unstable factor is obviously temporary, and that could be changed, so your luck could change. And let's just look at that in relation to the model. So again, stable is your ability. Remember, again, it's your skills that you develop. Your abilities are pretty much there already. They're stable and consistent. But what could be unstable is the amount of effort that you put in. And that could be down to personality. That could be down to one of those days. There's lots of different things, but compared to ability, your effort is going to change a lot more. And as we mentioned before, your luck, that could change very quickly. As I mentioned before, the bounce of the ball, the rub of the green, the pick in a draw, it could be something like that. It was down to luck that we won or we lost. And then also the task difficulty, that's going to be relatively consistent. Every time you come up to that task, it's going to be roughly the same. So we could argue that that's going to be stable. So there in itself are the main factors of attribution theory. What we now need to do is just apply them very quickly. So what I'd like you to do is draw out this model here, this chart, sorry, and then type of attribution, stability, and then think of a winning example. So I won today because, and then exactly the same for a losing example. And then for causality, I won today because, I lost today because. And just be honest and think of examples that you've had it in your own experience. And that's very, very important that you try and do that. All right, so pause the screencast and just fill that out. Okay, so let's have a look at this one here. Let's say an Olympic athlete's just won the gold medal for the 400 meters in 2012. Brilliant. So the ideal situation is that the athlete attributes their winning medal to an internal factor. It's their effort or ability. Now, why would that be? Why is that the ideal situation? Have a think. Pause the screencast if you need. See if you can work it out. Okay, so if you're attributing something to an internal factor, what it's actually doing is reinforcing success. So, for example, achievement is the result of my ability. It was the amount of effort that I put in and the amount of ability that I have that was the reason for the success. Therefore, I would probably start making more effort, or if not, as much effort as I already have, and I will hopefully then feel that I'm going to achieve again. It would be, what it actually can do as a knock-on effect is increase the amount of confidence somebody has. And also, it endorses further expectations. So I'm going to be a high achiever because of the internal factors. So in terms of attribution, what do you think the following individuals will blame for their success or failure? So you need to have two things there. So note high achiever, and then next to it, what they would attribute success to, and then what they would attribute failure to, using the model from Whingers. And again, do the same for low achiever, so you need to have that noted down, and success, and then next to it, failure. What would they attribute those to? I'll pause the screencast. Okay, so for high achievers, what we've noted is that what they will tend to do is attribute success to internal factors. So high ability is the reason that I succeeded if they have a high achiever approach towards tasks. They attribute internal factors an attribution to internal factors results in greater effort. Failure is usually put down to external factors. The failure is seen as a temporary setback. It wasn't our day today. We were unlucky. The referee's decision was against us. They don't say that failure is down to them. Interesting, when you look back to Sir Alex Ferguson, he said that the reason that they didn't succeed was because of external factors and not internal ones. This approach has actually got a name, and it's called an attributional bias. And it's quite obvious Sir Alex Ferguson had that, a self-serving bias. It's like, no. I know that I'm working very, very hard. I'm doing very well, but it just wasn't our day today. So they just see it as a temporary setback. It's quite interesting, that. Now, for someone who is a low achiever, or people who don't, or who try and apply avoidance behaviour, they tend to attribute a lack of success to internal factors. It's my lack of ability. Low achievers also tend to attribute success to external factors. Oh, I was unlucky today. So it was luck was the reason that I succeeded. Sorry, I got mixed up there. So luck was the reason that I did well today, and then also for the low achievers, they're also implying that internal factors were the reasons for the lack of success. And you can see that could probably eat away at you. Oh, I'm not very good at this. I didn't do very well today because I didn't try very hard. It's quite a negative approach, isn't it? And this is actually considered to be a negative attribution. It takes away your confidence and reduces your expectations. So it's very important to try and develop that high achieving mentality. And in sport, you will see that a lot of successful sports people will have that high achieving, need to achieve approach towards their sports. Okay, well, that's the end of the screencast. Hopefully that's helped. Thanks very much. I will speak to you soon.